have the head of ecosystem at STRATO, Bob, speaking about the early days of Ethereum. Bob Summerwill. Sorry, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Is anything going? Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. So, early days of Ethereum is a project that's been a long time in the making. I used to work at the Ethereum Foundation back in 2016 and Consensus, worked on Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. I've been working on Ethereum Classic for the last 6 years, and I'm now working for STRATO, who launched at DevCon 1 in 2015. In 2017, I started gathering information on really the Ethereum Foundation and the history of Ethereum prior to the foundation, really trying to understand, you know, what had happened back there. There really wasn't any canonical history at that point. It was before any of the books had been written. There was kind of an intentional veil of lack of information at that point as well, because the early days have been rather messy, lots of conflict. So it's like, don't talk about that, right? We're conflict averse in Ethereum, so we don't talk about the bad things. Anyway, I went digging in. This was a very early video, which I think is actually one of my absolute favorites. You got the volume? No? Okay, let's go back. You ready? We got volume? No? Yes? No volume. We're going to have a sad presentation if we've got no video capability here.
It begins as an idea, transforming into a problem that begs to be solved. Like a great cycle, each answer yields another peak. The vista promises more beautiful ends, and the new journey pushes us forward. We are builders, our visionaries, the rebels, the troublemakers, and the dreamers. Then we arrive at a new peak. With more dreamers, more builders, a few more rebels, and of course, we still have the troublemakers. Some journeys are coming to a noble end. And some.
So that was released in March 2014. Would anyone who doesn't already know the answer like to make a guess at who the voiceover was? It was Charles Hoskinson. There we go. Because the truth is, Ethereum was the work of many hands from the very earliest days, many of whose contributions are kind of forgotten, beyond Charles even. So I mean, what we have here, so early days of ETH.org is the website. Here, I've so far identified over 200 people who were involved in building Ethereum in those first few years. I have constructed epochs here, so white paper to Red Wedding. Red Wedding was where Charles and Amir Shetrit were offed, and we had the transition to the Ethereum Foundation, the Stiftung Ethereum there, and ETHDenver was the group that did a lot of the development work. The other thing that you see happening, where are we? Yes. In this Stiftung period, you also had the crowd sale. So you had people who were hired, you know, you actually had employees for the EF. the Ming dynasty with Ming Chan as the executive director, and then we came through into the Infinite Garden, and then this final phase that I called Wartime CEO, really with Thomas, but then there's no Thomas anymore, so I don't know if we're still in that. We're certainly not in the Infinite Garden anymore. I'll just show you a couple of other very early videos. We ready on the volume?
I'm Vitalik Buterin, the inventor of Ethereum.
Hi, I'm Charles Hoskinson. I'm a core developer of the Ethereum project, and I'm a theoretical mathematician and computer scientist.
I first heard of Bitcoin back when I was in high school in March 2011, so I didn't even appreciate it fully at first. I saw this revolutionary cryptographic technology, but I was never really sure just how effective it would be in the real world. And it was at that time that the Bitcoin price first went up from about 13 to 100, and the community suddenly got much larger, and I realized that at that point, that Bitcoin is going to be much larger than I ever thought it would be, and I had a unique chance to participate, to have much larger participation in the Bitcoin project. So
Leave it there. Another key figure. Another key figure was Gavin Wood. So Gav was the CTO. He built the first Ethereum client, the C++ client. He wrote the yellow paper, which is the spec. But he was out of the door by the end of 2015, but a key figure early on. Let's have a bit of Gav.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, wow. I thought it was going to be about 5 or 10 people around a table at a pub like the Ethereum meetup, but yeah, I was a bit wrong there, wasn't I?
5 or 10 people.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ethereum. I'm going to go off on one a little bit. I'm not going to go for Vitalik's talk where he went about how it's going to revolutionize altcoin creation. I'm going to move more for the kind of what it will mean maybe for society. I've had a bit of a think about this over the past week or two. A few sort of revelation.
So that there, Ethereum's purpose is to give life to the experiments that will change society in the 21st century. That was another Charlesism. The white paper was in November 2013. You had the sort of the launch in January 2014, but there was another key event in Toronto in April 2014, where Ethereum, the Ethereum company, was the headline sponsor of a Bitcoin conference. So that was Gavin Wood and Joe Lubin. That's Taylor Gehring there, and Richard Stott. Jason Colby in the middle. They apparently had 1,000 T-shirts that they gave away. Some people have piles of those still. Spoke to William Magyar yesterday, and he said he has 4? 3. Magic. There you go. There was a hackathon there that was a lot of fun. I'm just going to leave that. Just one other kind of key character early on was Stefan Tual, who was sort of head of communications community. Also famously part of the Slockit team that wrote the DAO and all of the disaster that came out of that. This is when he was still at the EF, though.
My name is Stefan Tual. I'm the CCO for Ethereum. My background is in IT, startups, and development. My role at Ethereum is to bring together entrepreneurs, developers, and investors to build decentralized applications on our platform.
Let me cut it short there. Another key event in 2018 was DevCon 0. So DevCon 0 was the first Ethereum conference, but it was not a public conference. It happened at the Berlin offices. And something that is super amazing on the artifacts here.
I'm going to call each one of you up, and I just want to give you, don't be scared. I just want to give you a quick opportunity to introduce yourself so that later on, communication is easy.
So in this video, the majority of the people who were there, 30 or 40 people, came up and introduced themselves. So obviously not going to go through a lot of this, but this is just great to see some of them. They're so young.
The X. There it is. Yeah, so I came onto the project back in February to try and model the system and help ensure that it will work in a stable way. So look at different...
Anyway, you can watch these at your leisure. I'm very short of time, so I'm just going to quickly point you to the website. So it's earlydaysofethereum.org here. As well as tons of individual info. We've also got a timeline of videos and articles all through this time. And then finally, we've got this series of conversations. So every 2 weeks now, we are releasing interviews with people who are around in these early days. I'd also point you to the Museum of Ethereum, which is something I've been working on for months, having a lot of this material, and there are some other bits and pieces. And also, you've got hands-on laptops that you can run 2016 era Mist wallet. And I actually extended the Homestead chain. I mined it back to life, resurrected it. So what you're running on there is contemporary hardware, contemporary binaries on the original chain protocol. Anyway, so 5 seconds to go. So yeah, this is some of the things you'll see in the museum as you come in. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, this is early days of Ethereum and Strato.nexus, the project I work on with tokenized gold and silver. Thank you.